Hi, my name is Abigail Brown. I am an early education major and I've completed 2 field experiences, one in kindergarten and one in the 2nd grade. These experiences help me explore a big question. How do teacher-student relationships and behavioral strategies impact early learners? Throughout this PowerPoint, I will share 4 key tips that I have learned based on theory, real classrooms, and what I observed works best with young students. For my field experience in kindergarten, I observed how a warm, experienced teacher like Miss Kalman built meaningful relationships with her students. This led to more focus, participation, and motivation. For my field experience in 2nd grade, I observed a classroom that used clear behavioral strategies like rewards and consequences. I focused on how praises, stickers, and even timeouts affected student motivation. These experiences helped me shape my big 4 takeaways about what early educators need to do to thrive. Tip number 1: make connections with learners. In kindergarten, I saw that strong relationships were the foundation of everything. Miss Kalman's students trusted her, and it really showed. They listened to her, tried harder, and some of her previous students from years past even came by just to say good morning. This connection with young learners is very important, and it is the foundation of how their school career will go on. For my theory connection, this aligns with Vygotsky's zone of proximal development, which says students learn best through social support and guidance. You could try this in your classroom. Use morning check-ins, affirming language like, "I love how you kept trying," and just take the time to learn about each student's interest to make that stronger connection. Tip number 2: clearly define what behaviors warrant rewards. In 2nd grade, I saw the teacher use behavior charts and praise, but some students didn't always understand why they got or didn't get a reward. That led to some confusion and frustration. For example, student A showed some really not great behavior, and student B showed that same not great behavior. Well, student A kind of got a slap on the wrist and went on about their day, and student B got silent lunch for that same behavior. So I feel like that's very unfair. And student A also got a piece of candy at the end of the day, and student B did not get that piece of candy because he had silent lunch. And I feel like that's very unfair to the students and doesn't really show them a clear example of what is expected of them in the classroom, and kind of just confuses the other students, and they don't really know how they're supposed to act and why student B got silent lunch and student A didn't, and I feel like that's not very appropriate for the classroom. For my theory connection, I have Skinner's operant condition, and that tells us that rewards work best when they're immediate and clearly connected to the behavior. You could try this. Be specific. Say you earned a point because you raised your hand, or you could use visual charts and classroom jobs. Tip number 3: keep rewards simple and engaging. In both classrooms, rewards like stickers or praises boosted engagement when they were tied to effort, not just results. In 2nd grade, students lit up when they earned something that they valued, but some students said they didn't really care for the reward, showing that motivation is not just one size fits all. So you have to make sure that the rewards you're using in your classroom are appropriate for that age group. For my theory connection, I have Skinner's theory that says reinforcement needs to be meaningful to the learner. You could try this in your classroom. Use age-appropriate rewards like praises, fun stamps, or short privileges. Keep it simple and flexible. What motivates one student might not work for another. I've also seen where some teachers will allow students that have been well behaved to sit in the teacher's desk or, sit in a rolly chair or other things like that. That might be more appealing to some of the upper grades rather than just using stickers, which would be more appealing to in a kindergarten classroom. Tip number 4, communicate clearly and consistently. One common challenge I saw was inconsistency in both classrooms. Unclear or uneven consequences led to confusion. For example, one student might get a warning and the other student might lose recess, and the rest of the students didn't understand why. So it is very, very important that we are consistent with our consequences. We need to make sure that they understand what behavior is expected of them in the classroom and what is tolerable and what is not tolerable. For my theory connection, according to Bandura's social learning theory, kids watch how others are treated. If consequences are not consistent, they will get mixed messages. And students do watch each other. This is really true. I watched this happen in the classroom when student A got silent lunch for showing bad behavior and student B showed the same behavior, but he did not get a silent lunch and he just kind of got a little slap on the wrist, and that's not very fair, and that makes like a gray area for the students, and they don't really understand what is expected for them in the classroom. One thing to try is post classroom rules where students can view them regularly and follow through with the same consequences every time for every student. Do not show favoritism in any kind of way, because that will definitely mix up their idea of what is expected of them in the classroom. This is a summary of the strategies that I have listed. Number 1, build relationships through trust and connection. Number 2, clearly connect behavior to rewards. Number 3, keep rewards simple and meaningful. Number 4, and I feel like number 4 is one of the most important ones, is be consistent and transparent with rules. These strategies will help students feel safe and motivated and ready to learn no matter their background or needs. For my final reflection, here's what I learned. Great teaching isn't just about content, it's about connection and clarity. From watching real classrooms, I saw the way that you connect and communicate can make or break student motivation. These lessons will definitely shape my future classroom. For example, we do not need to show favoritism in our classroom, and it can really break a student's motivation that might not be the favorite if you're treating them differently than how you treat one of your favorite students. That's very unfair, and consequences are usually very uneven when we show favoritism in the classroom. Encouragement for new teachers. To new teachers, you've got this. You don't need to be perfect, just consistent, caring, and clear. I really recommend that everyone goes and watches Rita Pearson's TED Talk. Every child needs a champion. Be that champion, build that relationship, reinforce effort, and keep things simple and fair. It doesn't all have to be hard. You just need to keep it fair. And here are my references. I just want to thank everybody for listening to my presentation. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that everyone has a great day. And I really enjoyed my field experiences this year, and I really think that it taught me a lot, and I've learned a lot of things that I will and won't do in my classroom, and I hope that everyone else has had those experiences as well. Thanks for watching. Bye!